You're new to the gory delights of zombie films. We've put together the top zombie movies of all time based on their IMDb scores. And here is a list of the 10 best zombie films. Number 1. Train to Busan is a 2016 South Korean action horror film. One of the most claustrophobic, terrifying and extreme zombie movies of all time, Train to Busan is a non-stop horror ride from Seoul to Busan. The sheer relentless action and the continual threat of death by zombie just beyond a thin glass sheet keep these passengers battling for survival every step of the way. Directed by Sang Ho-yeon, Train to Busan uses handheld cameras and close-quarter combat scenes that send a chill down your spine, taking the zombie genre to a whole new level of terror. Starring Gong Yoo, Young Yumi, Ma Dong-suk, and Soo-in Kim. At the New York Times, Jeanette Katsoulis selected the film as her critics' pick and took notice of its subtle class warfare. Number 2. World War Z is a 2013 American action horror film. A pandemic is destroying the world's armies and governments, and humanity's survival is threatened as more succumb to the plague.
This thing started. One less to fight. Maybe we could kill it.
The planet is spiraling towards anarchy and devastation with only tiny pockets of humanity trying to survive the onslaught. One man, played by Brad Pitt, stands against the armies of the undead and fights to save the future of mankind in a heroic battle that will keep you glued to your seat from start to finish. Also starring Mireille Enos, Daniela Curtis and James Badge Dale. Directed by Mark Forster, this sweeping film is one of the best action-adventure films and definitely one of the scariest zombie movies of all time.
Half measure. You with the CIA? But they're not with me. Karen.
Is there anything left out there?
Alonso Durald of The Wrap said, "For all its effectiveness at portraying the horror of possible human extinction, the film's actual humans are so soulless that this could just as well be the movie version of the video game Plants vs. Zombies." Number 3. Warm Bodies is a 2013 American paranormal romantic zombie comedy film.
I have left. It's kind of a bummer. I connect with people. Be so hard on myself. I mean, we're all dead. This is my best friend. We even have almost conversations sometimes.
The film focuses on the development of the relationship between Julie, Palmer, a young woman, and R. Holt, a zombie, and their eventual romance, causing her to slowly return to human form. The film is noted for displaying human characteristics in zombie characters and for being told from a zombie's perspective. This unusual take on the run-of-the-mill zombie genre is funny, heartwarming, and a bit gory, but it ultimately shows how the human spirit can conquer any adversity. It treads a fine line between horror and rom-com, but without falling into the cheesy cliché you get with the average girl meets boy film. Directed by Jonathan Levine, Warm Bodies is an intelligent and surprisingly upbeat zombie film that stars Nicholas Hoult, Teresa Palmer, John Malkovich, and Leo Tipton.
They call these guys bonies. They'll eat anything with a heartbeat. I mean, I will too, but...
Number 4. Zombieland is a 2009 American post-apocalyptic zombie comedy film. The zombie genre has produced some fabulous comedies as well as horror films, and Ruben Fleischer's Zombieland ranks as one of the best. The classic road trip film, with the addition of undead and unique characters, is a rip-roaringly funny film with jump scare moments.
What do you think? Zombie kill of the week? I think she could have guessed something would be zombie kill.
The characters interact with one another brilliantly, with Woody Harrelson stealing every scene he's in. Also starring Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, and Abigail Breslin. Roger Ebert was surprised by Zombieland's ability to be significantly humorous while zombies remained the focus of the film, and felt that all of this could have been dreary, but not here. The filmmakers show invention and well-tuned comic timing. Michael Ordona of Los Angeles Times praised director Fleischer for bringing impeccable timing and bloodthirsty wit to the proceedings.
Whoa. Themselves go.
Number 5. I Am Legend is a 2007 American post-apocalyptic action thriller film. The top zombie movie of all time according to IMDb. Loosely based on the 1954 novel of the same name by Richard Matheson, the film is set in New York City after a virus, which was originally created to cure cancer, has wiped out most of mankind, leaving Neville as the last human in New York, other than nocturnal mutants.
My name is Robert Neville. Day 1001. I am a survivor living in New York City.
Neville is immune to the virus, and he works to develop a cure while defending himself against the hostile mutants. It is the third feature film adaptation of Matheson's novel following 1964's The Last Man on Earth and 1971's The Omega Man. The magazine solicited reactions from Ellen Weissman, author of The World Without Us, virologist W. Ian Lipkin, MD, and Michelle Bruno, PhD, comparing their predictions with the film's depictions.
If you are out there, I am broadcasting on all AM frequencies. Please.
Number 6. 28 Weeks Later is a 2007 post-apocalyptic horror film. The sequel to 28 Days Later, this film is directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo and takes the original storyline to the next stage. The first plague may have subsided, but that doesn't mean that attempts to repopulate will succeed. Has the rage virus truly abated? Or could just one unsuspecting person carrying the mutated version scupper the chances of survival for a small, isolated enclave of untainted humans? Sometimes there are no happy endings, and we are doomed to make the same mistakes over and over again. Starring Jeremy Renner, Rose Byrne, Robert Carlyle, and Harold Perrineau. View London called the film an exciting, action-packed, and superbly directed thriller that more than lives up to the original film. The New York Times' A.O. Scott remarked that it is brutal and almost exhaustingly terrifying, as any respectable zombie movie should be. It is also bracingly smart, both in its ideas and in its techniques. Number 7. Dawn of the Dead is a 2004 action horror film. A remake of George A. Romero's 1978 film of the same name, the original film also made cameo appearances. Set in Milwaukee, the film follows a group of survivors who take refuge in an upscale suburban shopping mall during a zombie apocalypse. Dawn of the Dead garnered strong reviews upon its release, with critics praising it as a worthy remake of the original as well as a decent entry in the zombie genre. Producers Eric Newman and Mark Abraham developed the film rather as a re-envisioning of the original Dawn of the Dead, aiming to reinvigorate the zombie genre for modern audiences. Newman and Abraham bought the rights from co-producer Richard P. Rubinstein, who produced the original, and hired Gunn to write the script, which adopted the original's basic premise but is oriented around the action genre. Intent on making the remake a straight horror, Snyder took over to direct with the goal of keeping every aspect of the production as grounded in reality as possible. Number 8. Shaun of the Dead, 2004. This British comedy horror directed by Edgar Wright is one of the finest and funniest zombie movies of the lot. Written by and starring the brilliant Simon Pegg, Shaun of the Dead tells the story of a salesman and his mate and how their mundane everyday life quickly turns upside down by a rather inconvenient zombie apocalypse. When family and friends start succumbing to the occasional infected chomp from one of the living dead, things get personal. It's time to head to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for all this to blow over. Also starring Nick Frost, Kate Ashfield, and Lucy Davis. Number 9. 28 Days Later is a 2002 British post-apocalyptic horror film. Waking up in a deserted hospital, Jim has to run for his life as a terrifying plague has turned everyone around him into raging beasts, caused by the misplaced good intentions of a few animal rights activists. This seminal film directed by Danny Boyle captures the desolation and sense of hopelessness of an apocalyptic disaster and gives it a distinctly human touch. The empty London streets are exquisitely filmed, and the movie is filled with a sense of the everyday world turned on its head by the folly of mankind. Starring Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Christopher Eccleston, and Alex Palmer. Bravo awarded it the 100th spot on their list of the 100 scariest movie moments in a 4-episode 2004 television series. The commentators explained that making the zombies move fast for the first time was a bright and effective idea. Number 10. Resident Evil is a 2002 action horror film. What happens when you add an out-of-control supercomputer to a zombie plague? You get one of the most important zombie franchises of all time, and one of the most successful to boot. Directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, the original Resident Evil features some of the most breathtaking action sequences of the entire horror genre.
State-of-the-art artificial intelligence. The Red Queen went homicidal.
Who's the Red Queen?
Corporations keeping a few secrets down here.
A seminal film of its type and one of the best zombie movies ever filmed, Resident Evil grabs you from the very start and refuses to give you a chance to catch your breath until the end.
You have to get out.
Don't listen to anything she says. She's a holographic representation of the Red Queen.
Maybe our only way out of here.
Starring Milla Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez, Ryan McCluskey, and Oscar Pierce. Robert K. Elder from the Chicago Tribune thought the film updates the zombie genre with an anti-corporate message while still scaring its audience and providing heart-pounding action. Owen Gleiberman from Entertainment Weekly noted, "The film is as impersonal in its relentlessness as the video game series that inspired it."